Tony, looking back at the win at the weekend first against Wakefield, another big victory, but came at a cost with some serious injuries.
Yeah, it did actually, yeah, which is a little bit out of the norm really, because usually when you dominate you don't pick up as many injuries as in games that you probably get dominated. So, it went a bit against the grain, but it started early and it was a bit disruptive to us in some respects, but fortunately we were, professional enough and also good enough to, continue on and put in a pretty good performance overall. So, pleased about that. Disappointed for the individuals and for the squad to some degree in terms of the injuries. It's certainly feel for each of the individuals that have missed out. And some experienced players there, etc. But that's all part and parcel of our game, and there's not many teams that go through the season and not have to suffer periods of time with injuries, and a lot of that usually happens at the back end of the year. It makes sense after long, rigorous seasons and hard seasons, and etc. But we got some good young players, ready for their chance, and some young players with good experience ready for their chance. So, it's not all doom and gloom at our place, and we've got a pretty healthy squad, and, in terms of depth, and we're going to be able to put out a pretty competitive team each week, I think.
Can you give any updates on the individual injuries?
Yeah. Benny Westwood is 6 to 8 weeks. He's got a medial ligament injury, and he's hoping to get back sooner. It wouldn't surprise me with Benny, with the way he'll his determination and his toughness, and he'll try and rehabilitate himself as quick as possible. And so feeling for Benny, because he's been an outstanding player for us all year, and one of the outstanding players of Super League, I think. So it's a tough one for Benny. Brett Hodgson, he'll be 3 or 4 weeks. Hodjo, he's got a tear in his quad, and that he happened early in the game there the other day, and he'll be missed for at least a couple of games there. We've got a week off in a week's time, so that's probably fallen at a good time for him. Grixie, I think, will be back possibly next game. So Simon's got a groin strain, but it's not as bad as possibly feared. But and Rhys Evans is another blow. Rhys has broken a bone in his foot, so and he needs to have it operated on next week. So he'll be gone for the rest of the season. And blow for a young man like him, but he's got a bright future and a long future, I'm sure, in Super League ahead of him. So. But we've got some able replacements there, and able bodies who are ready for their chance. Likely to have Briers back this week, and also Matty, Blythe. Along with Chris Riley's waiting for his chance. So he'll probably get a chance this week for Hodgson, and also possibly Lee Mitchell's back from Harlequins loan, so Lee's in the fray as well. So there's some boys who have had quite a bit of first grade experience and been patiently waiting their turn. So we've got some good options there. So we're still feeling pretty good about ourselves as well.
Any further news on Mozza?
No, Mozza's steady away. It's he has got improvement, but it's only slight, and it's only whilst he's as I keep saying, whilst he's got any symptoms, he's not going to be put at risk in any way, shape or form, so he won't be in the immediate, no.
One big positive from the game must have been the performance of Chris Bridge, especially the 10 out of 10 goal kicking from all over the park. Yeah,
he was very good in the goal kicking, but he was good in other aspects too. He played well, Bridgie. He had a real solid game for us, and I thought there was a few real standout performers. Obviously Ryan Atkins with his try scoring, but he looks sharp and looks strong, and against his former club. And I thought Louis was outstanding. I think he was right up there. He's in good form at the moment, Louis. So pleased for him as well. But there was a lot of very strong performances right across the board there the other day. I think there was more than just one or two, shining lights in that game. Defensively we were very good again, and pleased about that, and scored some exceptional tries at times. And I think Dave Solomona's contribution from the bench was enormous. And I think he's in a good piece of form at the moment. He's got a good mix of when to offload and also his running game. So he's playing as well as he has done since he's been here. I think
that's about 7 times you've put 60 points or more on a team this season. There has been some concerns in the general media about games becoming too one-sided and the quality of the competition in depth. What are your thoughts on that?
Plenty. I've got plenty of thoughts on it. I don't think you got long enough tape for me to give all those thoughts, but yeah, it's a concern. It's a concern for the competition, and I think we need to sit down and assess it and look at whys and what fors, and that's not just assessing clubs' strengths and weaknesses, but the format of the competition, how we've structured it, whether the salary caps are working and whether the people not spending the salary cap works, and all sorts of things, and the format of the competition. I think each and every year we should be assessing the success or not of the strength of the competition. And I think we're crazy not to do that as sort of assessment. I'm not sure that it's always should be done by ourselves. Sometimes you need to get people from outside to come and have a look at you and tell you how you're performing. If you're assessing yourself all the time, I think you probably get more A's and B's than you would D's and E's. So I think we need to have a look at the whole makeup of it and sit down and assess it systematically at some stage.
But it doesn't seem that long ago since we were sat down saying that any team can beat any team on the day, but that seems to have suddenly changed.
No, I disagree with that as well. I still believe that any team can beat any team on any day. You still will have upsets even within the makeup of our competition. Not as often as, and they shouldn't be perceived. Games shouldn't be perceived as upsets. We should be, pretty much all competing and everyone a real chance in each of the games. And when we get to that, I think we can assess ourselves as having a strong and good and even competition. Until we get to that, well, we can't assess ourselves in that way. At the moment, you will still, if you're either underdone or, for various reasons, you can have upsets and teams at the bottom still. In our game, that can still happen. That's possible, but when we're getting to the stage where we're not talking about upsets, where it's getting that difficult to predict who's gonna win on any given week. Well, there's a big difference in that, I think.
Well, I think it's fair to say this weekend going to Catalans, no one can predict what's going to happen.
No, and that's a good thing. That's what sport's about. That's what competition's about. That's what gets the best out of players, and that's how it should be. And they, and coaches as well. They shouldn't be able to relax any particular week, or or be able to necessarily put out weaker teams and still get results. It's about competing each and every week as best and hardest you can, and at the moment I don't think that's the case, and I don't think it's necessarily helping the national team. I think the national team cops a lot of flack when if they're not performing or don't come up with results, but I think it's direct reflection of the type of competition that we have, and until we get a really strong competition and one where you have to perform to your best each and every week, well, we're probably not going to have the success that we desire in the national team. That's just part and parcel of it. But, I think, we need to have a real good review of the whole thing one day.
And are you looking forward to having a weekend away with the lads?
I don't know if it's, how you say that, there's a weekend away with the lads.
Team bonding.
It's nice to travel together, and it's It's not always the easiest thing. You know, a lot of people are much more comfortable in their own environment and their own homes, and it does take people out of their comfort zones. But at the same time, you're right. You know, to spend time together and travel together, whether it be on buses or planes or both, and you know, in hotel rooms and all that sort of stuff, it does bring, you know, the team together in some respects. So yeah, we are looking forward to it, but it's not the easiest things to do for everybody, and it's you know, we'll go there and make as good a fist of it as we can, and we look forward to it. It's going to be a real challenge for us. It's very hot at the moment in that part of the world, and you know, it's probably not what we're used to as much as they are. So there's some advantages for them, but they're the sort of challenges that we like to rise to.
Okay, Tony. Well, enjoy the weekend and look forward to seeing you on your return.
Thank you.